Okay, so here we are yet another day hanging out on the river. Kind of an overcast gray day today, and we are iced up and ready to buy fish. We are the buying tender today, so we should be seeing our first fish of the season. Last night, our other tender on our fleet that was buying did take in a couple boats and got, I think, about 30,000 pounds total, so a decent amount for the beginning of the season. So it's yet another waiting game, just kind of hang out. I've been watching a lot of movies. A big thanks to Bill in Florida who set me up with a hard drive full of movies. Been burning through those, watching a ton of movies. And yeah, hanging out, make some more biscuits this morning, a little sausage and cheddar biscuits. And I've been spending a lot of time also playing this little Nintendo Game Boy. I bought this thing back in 2002 when I was in my mid-20s. And I've got a golf game on here I've been playing, putting a lot of hours on this thing. Just, yeah, kind of biding our time. That's the name of the game here. It's just trying to keep your mind busy here and not go stir crazy, not get cabin fever. I do miss my van, of course. I miss being able to go for hikes and putting my feet in the dirt. But it is pretty awesome to be camped out here on the river. It's very much kind of like camping and just hanging out at camp. So yeah, got my bunk over here, so probably crawl back in there and hit up the Game Boy, play some more golf. Okay, well the salmon are running, so we've been busy. We've been taking on boats and taking on fish on our boat. So I'll explain a little bit how this works. We are a tender boat, which means we tend to the fishermen. We work for the cannery, the processing plant, and the fishermen are kind of contracted with that processing plant. So we are here for the fishermen to take their fish. The reason why the fishermen don't go in and deliver directly to the processing plant is because of the high tide shifts here. The dock at the plant actually goes dry at low tide, so there wouldn't be enough time in the high tide to one by one unload the fishermen's fish at the dock. That's why they unload to us. We can hold about 100,000 pounds of salmon between our 4 holding tanks, about 25,000 pounds in each tank. And we can unload those very, very quickly as opposed to unloading the fishing boat one by one. So that's why there is the tenders. That's the main reason, is because of those high tide shifts. So on our fleet, we have about, I think, 10 tenders. 2 in the river, and the rest are all outside the mouth of the river at sea. So when I say we're the buying tender, that means in river, between our boat and the other boat in the river, we kind of toggle back and forth at each fishing opening. So we're not working back to back and basically not having time to sleep at all. So how this works is I'll show a little footage here. The fishing boats pull up beside our boat. There's 2 cranes on our boat. I operate one, the other deckhand operates the other. I send the crane down with a scale and a hook on it, and then the deckhands on the fishing boat, all their fish are kept in the hull of their boat in tanks, and the fish are usually iced or refrigerated to keep them fresh. At that point, the fish are no longer alive, and we will one by one pick each brailer bag out. The brailer bag is kind of like a mesh bag, so that refrigerated water can filter out. We can bring it up over our tanks. I look up at the scale, take the weight, mark it down on a little ticket, and then drop the fish right in the hole, and then pull up that brailer bag, get a weight on that bag to subtract from the weight of the total with the fish, so we're not buying the weight of their brailer bag. Send it back and just repeat that process for however many bags they have. Oftentimes a boat can have 2 or 3 bags, and when they're max filled out, it can be 15 to 16 bags, which can be quite a bit of fish. Each brailer bag can be filled up to about 800 or 900 pounds. So if they've got 15 900-pound bags, you can do the math. That's a lot of fish, and that's a good catch for a fisherman. And that's just one day of fishing. So the way this works here, this is all regulated by Alaska Fish and Game. They actually have sonar counting stations in all the rivers where they can count the number of fish that are going upriver, and they consider that what they call escapement. So it's all based on escapement numbers and abundance. So they'll open certain amount of fishing based on the number of fish that have escaped upriver to propagate the species so they don't outfish the salmon here. Of course, that system probably has its flaws and it's not perfect, but they seem to do a pretty good job of making sure plenty of fish escape and go upriver and can breed and repopulate the species. So that's kind of how that works. So this process of me operating the crane, sending the scale over, picking up their fish, dropping in our tanks, we will just do that over and over. Oftentimes in an opening or buying session, we'll take up to 20 boats, sometimes more. We usually don't do that part of the work for more than about 5 hours at a time. We're usually able to get through all the boats in about 5 hours max, sometimes maybe a little longer. And then we have to go deliver those fish too, and that takes a good hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes. And that is based on the high tide as well. So oftentimes when we're done buying fish, we'll have some downtime of maybe 3, sometimes 4 hours to get some sleep, feed ourselves, rest up, and then we'll have to go in and deliver. So it's kind of a round-the-clock schedule, although we do alternate between the other in-river buying tender that's a part of our fleet. Now when I show footage around the river, all these other big boats, there's multiple companies up here. We're North Pacific Seafoods. There's also Trident's a big one, Silver Bay, Copper River, Peter Pan, Ocean Beauty Icicle, which is now merged, which is OBI, and I think a couple others. So this whole area is all dominated by this industry this time of year. There's nobody that comes up to this river just for fun. It's all industry here. So any boats you see in this footage I show are all here for the salmon fishing. All right, we actually got some boats today. I think we had a total of about 4 or 5, so not very many. We have a very small delivery, but we've pulled anchor. We're making our way into the cannery to do our delivery. It'll be our first delivery of the season, and the fog has just started rolling in. It was clear and sunny about 30 minutes ago. This all just rolled in real fast. So we're gonna take our slow ride into the cannery. So when we go in to deliver, they have this system where this is kind of new for this season for me, seeing it. They have this big tube that comes in, and that tube is hooked up to this giant vacuum system, and they flood the tanks with water, put this big tube into the tank, and it actually sucks all the fish out as they're submerged in all this water and brings them right up to the processing plant, go onto a conveyor belt. I believe they're weighed one more time, and they are processed pretty much immediately. So the idea is to get the fish from being caught by the fishermen into the processing plant and processed as soon as possible, usually within a 24-hour period, so to have the freshest product possible. The plant that I'm working for, the company Red Salmon, they specialize in frozen fillets. So the end product are frozen fillets that are put onto freezer shipping containers and shipped around to different locations. I've been asked a lot to where you can find the fish that this company processes, and I can't answer that question. I don't know. As far as I know, it is distributed to probably multiple different places, even overseas, although you can go to North Pacific Seafoods and order online frozen fillets, I think for $15 a pound, from the company that I work for. So that's pretty much how it works. All right, well, that was a successful first delivery there. As you saw, the crew that comes on off the dock there, we call them the beach gang. They work really hard to get us unloaded really fast. It was neat to see the new system there where they put that big hose down there. All right, we are anchored for the night. I'm gonna head in and warm up and call it a night. We are not buying tomorrow, so we should actually get some actual day off, get some good sleep, and get rested up for our next buying session. All right, it is just a little after midnight and we are wrapped up for the night. It's actually still a little light out. It is misty, windy, and cool out there, so it's nice to come in from being outside and warm up next to the stove here. It's nice and toasty down here. I'm gonna have myself a little snack and call it a night, crawl into bed. All right, well, it was a long night last night. We've been going for about 24 hours. A big storm came in. It has been rainy, windy. The winds have just been relentless. Makes our job pretty difficult, but we got through it. Ethan killed it. Dude, you're doing a great job. What do you think?
It's awesome. I love it.
Having fun?
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. So to reward ourselves, we pulled 2 fish out of the tank. I got a lot of questions on the last video if we are allowed to eat salmon, and the answer is absolutely. We pulled out about 2. The fish we usually buy are average about 5 pounds, so we pulled out 2 5-pounders, filleted them. We're going to probably cook up one of them and freeze the other one for another dinner. We're both pretty exhausted, so we're probably just going to get these on ice and call it a day, get some sleep, and then maybe cook these up later on. So, yeah, that's it. We're going to call it a day. Okay, well, I managed to get a good couple hours sleep in, so I'm going to try to get some dinner cooked up here. Got the walrus right next to us that are taking boats right now, so we get a little bit of time off. It helps. Without rotating tenders like that, we would just get burnout and not enough sleep. We already go on pretty little sleep anyway. So what we decided to do is take the fresh salmon fillets and just do a simple baked salmon, a little bit of salt and pepper, that's it. So we can just really taste the flavor of the salmon. And I cover it, and this oven really doesn't go to a designated temperature. I don't believe it gets much higher than probably 350 if that, so it may take a little longer. I'm going to cover them so they don't dry out. Just keep an eye on them, and yeah, I think it's preheated enough. Got it stoked up there, so I'm going to get those in there, see how they turn out. All right, I think the salmon's ready. You just pulled it out. I did have it covered with tin foil. You can see all the fats there have been released. So I picked in there with a fork. It looks like it's done. I'm going to actually try it to see how it is. Yeah, it's done for sure. Dang, that is good. It's very moist. All right, well, this salmon is phenomenal. It's just so fresh, and yeah, it's one of my favorite fishes. It's just super mild, doesn't have a real strong fishy taste at all, and just a little bit of salt and pepper, that's it. And just the flavor of the fish comes through so good. Came out super moist. Awesome. We're gonna be having more of this, that's for sure. Basically all we can eat salmon here. We are allowed to pick in the tank there after we buy and grab a couple. We can't be excessive about it, but 3 guys can only eat so much fish. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate you joining me on this adventure. It really does mean a lot to me. We'll be seeing you soon in the next video. Got less than 3 weeks in this job, and I'll be back to my van, hitting the road. Really looking forward to that moment. So we'll see you guys soon in the next video. Take care. Peace.